And we're back. So, next story, which is called What Friends Are For. So, this is what happens after each finish. You inevitably die at the end. And, you come back to the very beginning. The narrator starts.
The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas.
And then you make your decisions again of where you want to go.
The
You always start
rebellion
off
was
with
in
the three
trouble.
decisions to see.
Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base.
To get the gem.
They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced.
I'll let him explain.
Bernardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Bernardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion.
So the key up there is
and he had a gut
the last
feeling
thing
that
that
he
you
needed
do
to use that to his
unlock
advantage.
the rest of the story, so you finish it off. So we come back over here. You can see that where the actual guy is, Bernardo, that was the hero's path. So you're able to complete that, which we already did. So let's go back to the stories and go get
The
gem.
island was windswept desert. Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis Stone? Long hidden in the buried temple? Another ancient item
the
that was
Iblis Stone
only
is
resurfacing now?
basically like a
Drawn
power
up from
stone.
the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals?
You know, it can give you immense power. The only downside to it is you could get bloodthirsty and just decide to kill absolutely everything. So, depending on how the stories go, we're probably going to be doing both of these at some point.
Even need to aim it.
Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late. Impatient.
Still didn't get it. Okay. I'm gonna have to try to do that one off camera. So you don't see me getting absolutely triggered. Can't reach that.
When I build my castle, thought Bernardo, all my gates are going to open with buttons, and all the levers will drop rocks at your head.
lot of big updates tomorrow. Anybody
The
excited
Ravens at least could not get past this point.
for any of those?
Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders.
Looking forward to the updates to Fallout 76, so I can actually, you know, play that. It's not like it was bad before. It's just since I knew the updates were coming, I just kind of
Imagine
stopped.
if you built a house on one of these things. Oh, that would be amazing.
But
It would be like
you
having
know, the
boat.
increase to the stash limit, a bunch of the other quality of life stuff is going to be amazing. I think I'm only maybe like level 22 or 23, so I'm not that deep into it. I know there are some people that are at like
It
level
was a stone
140 and doing
of the
crazy
purest
stuff all the time, and
blackness. It reflected no light,
just
like a void made
not-
solid.
not there yet.
Nervous, he picked it up. It was the stone. Eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him. Why not capture the core of Skyripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the Transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon.
Nope.
What's the core? Said the stone anxiously.
Stone's afraid of the core.
But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. Why was
gonna
he
go to the
listening to a
daughter.
talking rock? Ah, but the rock had a point. If the stone could truly turn him into a As he placed the impossibly black crystal in his gauntlet, Renato had a sudden vision. Charred fields covered in dead ravens below a black sun. Was it the time of the lost gods before the Transcendent Emperor? Was it the future? Feed his souls, it whispered. Take the power. He could feel the stone's hunger for souls, its thirst for blood. All right, I get it. This was going to be interesting.
The stone does get a lot more powerful. You'll notice that, you know, the attacks, instead of taking like
This
one or
was
two,
the nice part of
or
town.
taking two or three, it might
Ravens
take
had
one or
been
two
through
to
here.
finish them off.
They like to take shiny things home to their nests. The ravens on Zenobia's island were no match for Renato. They screamed as the stones sucked out their souls. And with each death, he felt stronger. Take the power, the stone told him.
All of the power.
He couldn't do worse with Zenobia than he'd done with the core, could he? These things could really use a hand.
And of course, you know, all the jokes. All the pun jokes. Takes me down here.
Zenobia was waiting for Renato. She was alone, confident as always. Fire danced at the tips of her claws.
Are you here to surrender?
She seemed as cocksure as he felt. But she didn't know he had the stone. And I've missed you too, love. He chuckled. She spotted the stone and bolted without another word.
Don't run away from your feelings. saw an article on the PlayStation Reddit about Legend of Dragoon today, and it got me excited.
Finally, Renato caught up to her.
But
He had never seen
no
her scared
remaster
before.
in sight.
At school, she'd been the
Unfortunately.
determined, brave one. Now her eyes were wide, frightened. Please. No, said Zenobia. Not that way. Oh, they had been so close once. Could he really feed her soul to his demonic gem? But if he spared her, he would not get the full power of the stone. Oh, how could he be the hero he wanted to be? Renato
kill the girl.
hesitated. Zenobia
It's like
was
Hero
his
101.
greatest enemy. She was the Emperor's daughter and his greatest general. And the single person Renato least wanted to remove from this world. Especially that way. She was holding her arms out before her, hands fluttering, fending him off with hopeless urgency. Nope. She was weaving a spell. He couldn't move. This thing is evil, she said. She slid the Iblis stone out of its slot in his gauntlet and slipped it into a bag. Maybe we can learn from it. She eyed him with a strange, wry, apologetic look. I missed you too. And before he could move again, she was gone. Learn from the Iblis stone? What did that mean? Would she take it to the palace or to the observatory on the Nexus? If she thought it was evil, she wouldn't want it in the palace. And, after all, it was evil, wasn't it? Maybe I can outrace her to the observatory, thought Renato. Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. Renato felt a little sick. Ever since Zenobia had taken the stone from him, he'd felt an ache that wouldn't go away. He missed it. He wanted it back. He needed it back. Why hadn't he killed her when he had the
Nice.
chance? She was the enemy. He hadn't even seen her in 14 years. Why had he hesitated? You're a sucker for an empowered woman.
So what
Renato
did the
kicked
old lady
himself.
do? Did she, like,
Don't make that mistake again.
attack you? I don't think I did it there either.
Zenobia thought the stone was evil. Was it? Well, yes. But he still longed to have it back. He'd felt so good killing ravens with it.
You gotta
and
fight
yet
the police,
he'd
Chris.
felt unclean ever since he'd touched it. She confused him. She'd made him want to be a better fox. And then she'd abandoned him. Never telling him she was the Emperor's daughter. Never contacting him since. Well, who was she to tell him the stone was evil? Don't look down, he told himself. Don't look down.
Everybody's not dead this time.
The scientist's toes were pointing arcane instruments at the stone and looking at it through prisms and reflections. Mine, said Reynardo as he took back the stone. Well, we need it for science, croaked the toads. So he killed them. He felt better immediately. Smarter, too. I thought you'd never come for me, whispered the stone. Then, a far-speaker toad crowed in something like Zenobia's voice.
Reynardo, leave the stone with the toads. It will swallow your soul. Will kill everyone you love.
That did seem vaguely familiar, but Reynardo had an army to lead, an empire to bring down.
I know you can fight this thing.
Zenobia continued in the far speaker's croak.
You let me live. You know how evil it is. It will destroy you, Reynardo. It will destroy everything you love.
He had tried to convince himself that this time he would control the Iblis stone. But he could feel his will becoming brittle. She was right. He would get rid of it. Right? Now. Or now. He didn't really want to. I know. I'll go to the mountains, Reynardo thought. I'll find the strength to do it in the peace and quiet there. As the Farfarer landed at the foot of the mountains, Reynardo was surprised to find Lapino there. What are you doing here? Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I was stowed away on an Imperial courier ship, dressed up as a combat nurse carrying a general's beak transplant. This is not a great time, said Reynardo, who was pretty sure he did not, in fact, believe Lapino's story. That's when you need your friends, said Lapino. I just need some peace and quiet, said Reynardo, and grimly set out on the path. Say hi to gravity for me.
There we go. These levels are hard to come by after a while.
Reynardo told his friend how he had slaughtered the toads and how he had nearly slain Zenobia. A terrible burden, this Iblis stone, sympathized the rabbit. Yeah, but I need it for the rebellion. Do you now? You know, you were a pretty fine fighter before you were wielding a demonic decoration. Oddly, the sword wasn't whispering at him to kill Lapino. Up ahead in the mountain, there was a peaceful spot. If he could rid himself of his burden anywhere, it was there. This would be the perfect place for a tic-tac-toe board.
Again, not really bothering much. I just got everything I need. No need to be greedy. it too.
Bernardo thought he would make a difference, snatching the Iblastone before the Emperor could get it. But it would destroy him. Zenobia and Lepino, they were both trying to save him. Peace. That was what he needed.
I need a lot more levels. Wow.
So much for peace and quiet. There was Lepino. Again.
You're stronger than some dumb rock,
Lepino said.
let's just bury it. And no one will ever find it again.
Bernardo could feel the spirit energy of all those dead ravens inside him, pecking away. The rabbit was right. Even if the rabbit was a traitor, he was still right. He tore the Iblastone from his gauntlet and threw it into the hole Lepino had dug. The stone was silent. Probably sulking.
Now whoop those Imperials, said Lepino.
Are you coming?
Ah, no, I can't come with you. It's my old injury, you know. Recently, it's been acting up terrible. I'd be no use to you at all.
So Reynardo boarded the Farfarer alone. Reynardo felt lonely on board the Farfarer. How could his old friend Lepino, miraculously escaped from the Empire, leave him to face the final battle alone? Well, he'd abandoned Lepino before, hadn't he? It was only fair. And of course he felt lonely. He'd given up the Iblastone and all the souls he fed it. Of course he felt alone. But he had done the right thing. It had been hard to do, but there was no better feeling than that. Zenobia would be so proud of him.
Cozy.
The battle, alas, was not going well. He no longer had the stone, and he'd never gotten the core. Lepino wasn't with him, and he was up against Zenobia, out there somewhere, maneuvering the Emperor's forces. The rebels had been outnumbered from the start, and he still had that aching longing for the stone. But that is what it means to be a hero. He would fight his way to Zenobia. He would show her what he was capable of. Just him, with no diabolic accoutrements. He would win, no matter the odds.
Like having the world's deadliest bowman right by his side.
I forgot to tell Jess about the
This was
breakfast ball.
definitely better than pulling yourself up in a bucket.
That's gonna be real good. Times I wish Kelly still worked with us.
Yes, that was it. Pirouette, slash, parry, dodge. Reynardo had never done such good work in a fight. He wished the poets were along to sing of his exploits for his old age.
Is it just really
Maybe
like
he wouldn't have to choose
GTA, but
Zenobia.
in the Wild
Maybe
West?
he could defeat her and take her prisoner.
Like, can
then
you
he
summon
could turn the tide against
a
the
tank
Emperor.
or
If she
a
wasn't crowned
horse and
princess,
cart with a big
once
old
this was
cannon
all
on the
over,
back and just go
he'd have
nuts?
more time for him, right?
'Cause it just sounds boring.
Fresh meat.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Again. This time, he'd make an end of them. He'd screwed up last time, but he had a good feeling about this time. By some miracle, Renato fought his way to the Emperor's ship. He was exhausted, bleeding, but he'd found the strength to reject the stone. Zenobia came out of the ship. "Renato!" she shouted, and then she fell down and died. Lapino was behind her, wielding a sword that seemed to suck all the light out of the sun. "You idiot! You threw the stone away!" cried Lapino. "You said it was evil." "It hates sanctimonious pricks like you," laughed Lapino. "We're having a grand old time." Renato turned and ran. But no matter where he ran, Lapino jumped in front of him until Renato was cornered. That boy could hop. "You wouldn't do this to an old friend, would you?" cried Renato. "You mean this?" said Lapino as he slid the sword into Renato's guts. "Damn it! Again?"
This rabbit. This freaking rabbit. Alright, so again, gonna cut the stream, and we'll be back in just a second.